What's up? Hello, everyone. Welcome into Fantasy Filmball, the show where we turn movies into sports and sports into something we don't talk about here. My name's Matt.
And my name is Dylan. Today is one of our biggest episodes of the year. It's the reason why a lot of you probably subscribe here to Fantasy Filmball. See, even my cat, he's right here. He's super excited. Aren't you, Alfie? Because it's time for final Oscar predictions here on Fantasy Filmball. And before we dive into the episode, first, I want to say if you're new here, please consider dropping a like, a subscription, self-promo plug. Everyone hates it, but you got to do it. This is the biggest episode of the year. We have so much fun content, not just predictions, not just reviews, but we just came out with our top 10 films of 2025, an episode we put a lot of work into, and we don't get to make any ad revenue because we use clips. We actually do clips unlike these award shows. And speaking of these award shows, this is what our predictions look like so far this year in terms of nominations. Critics' Choice, not the best. The Actors Awards, maybe I could have done a little bit better, but Golden Globes did pretty well. Matt's been pretty consistent here. He's done even better over in the win category. You'll notice one thing on this list is BAFTAs. They're blank. That's because we don't have the BAFTA nominations yet. So if you already think Oscar predicting is hard, you're going in without one of the most major precursors that we have each and every year.
Yeah, I mean, we can look at the long lists as that, and that's what I'm going to be doing is just treating the long lists at BAFTA like nominations. And for me, at this point, BAFTA, it's less important who made the cut. It's more important who did not make the cut in each of these places. So that's really what I'm looking for here. Also, before we get into today's video, apologies. I'm going to be coughing and wheezing through this video. I am sick again. I can't even hear out of one of my ears right now. It sucks. Anyways, though, I hope that doing these predictions will give me a little bit of energy because, man, I'm drained right now. But let's start the video off. We're going to do our current Best Picture predictions. Then we're going to go through all of the other categories and circle back at the end, see if after everything we talk about today, has anything changed for us. And of course, these are our channel final predictions, but if you want our official final predictions, make sure you check the morning of the Oscar nominations on Awards Expert. We may have changed one or two things, but this is basically as close as it gets to final.
But I have been yapping for quite a little bit here before we dive in this episode. All I want to say is last year we had a 2.5 hour final Oscar nomination prediction episode. Hopefully this year we can make it a little bit shorter.
Let's start off Best Picture. And I think you and I can agree, Dylan, there are 7 locked films here. That's One Battle After Another, Sinners, Hamnet, Frankenstein, Marty Supreme, Sentimental Value, Begonia. Those 7 are as good as locked. You can probably throw Train Dreams in there, although it's missed a few of those key nominations, but it looks pretty damn safe. That question, though, 9, 10. What are we doing? I mean, Secret Agent is an easy one to lean towards. It got the Golden Globe nomination for Best Drama, and it has been winning international feature at the Golden Globes, at the Critics' Choice, over Sentimental Value, over It Was Just an Accident. So number 9 feels really good for The Secret Agent, which is likely going to come along with a few other nominations. That question mark, number 10, what do we do? Do we go with the PGA pick of F1? Do we go with the Golden Globe pick of It Was Just an Accident? Or do we go off of that? Do we go to something like Blue Moon? Do we go to something like, Arno's doing something really crazy. He's going Sorry Baby. That makes no sense to me. Anyways, Dylan, which way are you leaning?
That is the question that we're going to be talking about today because currently I'm not sure what I have for my 10th slot. And I feel like as we work our way through a lot of these categories is where I'm kind of going to find myself. Hey, do I have F1 overperforming? Do I have Accident getting enough to fit into that slot? Or do I find another movie really hits all these extra nomination slots? Because unlike you, I do agree there is a clear top 7, but I would put Secret Agent above Train Dreams at this moment. I get Train Dreams has a lot of the early love through the season, but the last few weeks, especially like the last month or so, it's been missing a lot of critics groups. Its numbers haven't been increasing that much from its early onslaught of love. And I think that if you're looking at just a PGA movie, I mean, Train Dreams kind of is just a PGA movie. It missed out on Golden Globe, but it didn't make the BAFTA 10. So it's got a little bit extra than something like F1. But I think there is a world where if we have Accident get in, if we have F1 get in, if something like Weapons or Sorry Baby surprises, maybe the film to fall out would be Train Dreams, and that is just the solo screenplay or screenplay and cinematography type movie. But currently, I do have both of those in. And if I had to make a decision at this very moment, I'm keeping It Was Just an Accident as my number 10, but it's something that I could easily pluck out of a lot of its categories and find room for something like F1.
What I guess I want to put forward here is there's a possibility that you can do, because I don't think The Secret Agent is safe. I mean, it missed the BAFTA, which I feel like we would want to see in a normal year an international film overperform at BAFTA in order to be really confident in it here. Um, I don't think The Secret Agent is 100% safe. I still think there is a world where Accident makes it and Secret Agent doesn't. That's farther and farther away now, but I think that it could be safe to predict both Secret Agent and It Was Just an Accident because you're guaranteed to get at least one of them. Whereas if you predict one of those and F1, there's a chance that F1 might not even be the PGA movie that gets represented here because Weapons also got that PGA nomination and it has representation possibly in screenplay, definitely with Amy Madigan in supporting actress. So I think there's a world where predicting both blockbusters or both international films could be a safer bet to make sure that you at least get 9 out of 10 instead of ending up accidentally with 8 or even 7.
Yeah, and I think that's very reminiscent of the Oppenheimer year in the Best Director race, where we sat here, like, well, what do we do for director? We have so many people contending, and I don't remember if you did as well, but I remember I was like, well, I'm just going to do both the internationals because one of them's getting in. Is it going to be Glazer? Is it going to be Trier? And end up just being both, and then I got 5 for 5 in the director slot. So that's a very good point to play here for picture because it easily could just be 3 neons, and then you're set. There's your 10.
Yeah, I did the opposite actually in that year. I picked no international directors and I went Gerwig and Payne in my category and I got 3 out of 5 instead of getting perfect.
And that's the big difference. And I think that's something that we'll have to grapple with throughout this video is do you want to try for perfection or do you want to hedge your bets in certain categories where maybe there's a lock 3, but your 4 and 5 are questions. Do you just take the top 2 and just hope you get one? Or do you try to snipe that surprise pick to potentially go 5 for 5? So I guess from there, let's dive into some other categories. And I think the first categories we should dive into is something that you just had a whole entire video come out here with the channel, being the shorts. So Matt, do you want to talk about, I guess, a quick summary for people who haven't seen that video, but also if you haven't seen that video, title card above, just click it, watch it. Matt
Absolutely.
usually has a great breakdown and usually can give you 75+% in the category.
Just a note here. If you're predicting an awards expert, do not go with the top 5. It is alphabetical. People picked on the first day. All 3 of the shorts categories in awards expert. Have you noticed this, Dylan? All 3 of the categories, the consensus is just the first 5 films alphabetically. That's why we get some crazy picks in there that should not be in the top 5, and why some of the presumed frontrunners are not at all in the consensus top 5 on Awards Expert. So do not just put in the consensus Awards Expert 5. I think Gold Derby's probably better. I haven't checked that this year. But if you want more short stuff, go and watch that video. I spend an hour and 45 minutes talking about all these categories.
Including him with the shorts now, which category do you want to move into? Do you want to do like international documentary or anime, or do you want to move into
You know
some
what I
text?
kind of want to do?
What do you want to
Casting.
do? Casting? Okay, yeah, let's do it.
It's new. It's our brand new category. I think we have a lot to talk about here.
I think we do as well because this is something that every time we bring it up here on the channel, it's always this conversation of what are we going off of? There's BAFTA, there's SAG Ensemble, there's the Guild, but what will the Oscars do? And since we've gotten the Guild nominations, but as I say all the time, the Guild has so many categories that it's really hard to really take something away from until you get the winners. And One Battle After Another wasn't eligible due to the fact that they don't have their casting director isn't in the Guild. BAFTA, we don't have the actual nominations yet. A lot of these movies do show up on the long list of 10, but which ones will get into the list of 5? That's a whole other question. And then SAG Ensemble, and the Critics' Choice Ensemble slash casting, I think, has the major asterisks of the fact that ensemble is in the title, not just casting.
Exactly. So before we get into all of this, I just want to strike off some films from the shortlist that are not getting nominated. Surat, cool shortlist. It's not getting nominated here. If it got nominated here, something big is brewing. That's crazy. Wicked for Good, not getting nominated here. It's missed everything. If SAG wouldn't go for it, it's not getting nominated here. Weapons. That's a show of support for Amy Madigan. It's not getting nominated here. So we're left with 7 films. And the question that I have for you, Dylan, is what are the odds we just get the SAG Ensemble 5 in casting?
I'm being pretty lame, and that's what I am projecting at the moment, which I feel so disgusting doing because I've been hyping this category up ever since it was announced, saying, oh, they're not just going to do the SAG 5, they're going to do cool things. And the cool thing would be like Weapons or would be like Surat, where you're having to either cast very outside the box or you're having to redo your whole cast from top to bottom. The one thing I can say to maybe give some love for those 2 films is the fact that there is a bake-off. Do we know how a bake-off plays out? Not really, because that information isn't released publicly, and when it is, it's very skewed by people who are being told by someone who was at the bake-off, who was a part of one of these teams. It's not open to the public, so I think there is a world where something like Weapons could get in, but if Weapons get into casting, I feel
It's
like
getting
it
into
might get
picture
into
then.
Best Picture at that point.
Yeah.
At the moment, I think the top 4 here are pretty concise of One Battle, Sinners, Marty, Hamnet. Pick your order. The order doesn't really matter. Those 4, I feel like are in. Of one of the misses, I think that could spew some maybe negative things for some other nominations for those films. And I currently have Frankenstein in the 5th slot. You can say in terms of the Bake Off, the fact that they had to bring Jacob Elordi in so late, as well as playing such an iconic role in casting for one of the most famous novels of all time. But then I think also you could shout to something like Sentimental Value that could have a bunch of acting nominations. The Secret Agent, which is bringing in so many character actors from Brazil and putting them into roles that are very against type. And then I also think that you could have something like Weapons or Surat really shock. I would lean more so towards Weapons than Surat, but I do agree. Surat and Wicked are the 2 that I'm not really taking serious. And at least on Gold Derby, Frankenstein's number 9 at the moment. So I feel like that's some value points. And an awards expert, it's a little bit higher, but still not in the consensus 5 at the moment.
I'm annoyed at myself because I have a friend who I go to school with. He is on the casting team of Sentimental Value, and he went to the casting bake-off. And I literally months ago was like, Sentimental Value is getting a casting nomination. And he was like, ah, no, it's not. That's crazy. Um, but I didn't get a chance to ask him what the Bake Off was like or his takeaways from it. Anyways, I am going Sentimental Value here. I think that there is an argument mostly around the way that they had to cast in Europe. They also had to cast in America. And the American casting director of this has done so much stuff. Also, the casting director of Train Dreams this year. So, this is a casting director who is constantly working, who, possibly we could see some overdue narratives coming around from casting directors who have been in the industry, and this is their first year that they're able to actually acknowledge each other on this stage. So I am going Sentimental Value over Frankenstein. Yes, Frankenstein has a great narrative with having to recast the role of the monster like a month before shooting, but it just really comes down to Jacob Elordi. Like, if you're going to award Jacob Elordi's casting, then that's big. Honestly, if The Secret Agent is the nominee here, which I think is possible, it's walking away with international feature hands down. I actually think that this last spot is going to decide a lot of things. If Sentimental Value gets in here, I would expect Stellan Skarsgård ends up being the winner of supporting actor. If Frankenstein gets in here, Elordi might be the winner. And if Secret Agent gets in here, then Sentimental Value's dead for any wins. So let's talk visual effects next, because this is one that I'm at a loss, Dylan. I don't know what to do. So I just want to, right out of the gate, strike one film off the short list. That is The Electric State. Not happening. Electric State is the one film here that I am very confident in saying this will not get a nomination. But there's only two films that I'm confident in saying this will get a nomination. That's Avatar, Fire and Ash, and F1. After that, those last three spots I think could go literally any way.
I'm feeding into some bait here. I'm feeding into some of the crazy comments from our Discord server, which if you want to join, the link is down in the description down below. But people have been bringing up some pretty great stats in favor of The Lost Bus, where it's
Yeah.
gotten everything, and films that have the same package as The Lost Bus, assuming that it goes on to get the BAFTA nomination, do not miss this category. Like even 13 Lives had missed out, I think, somewhere in the lead up where it had everything else and would be a low nominee, which I think is the negative point to The Lost Bus. It's like, oh, it's just 13 Lives. No one cares about this movie. It's great work, but no one talks about this movie. But 13 Lives did miss out on one of the precursors. And assuming The Lost Bus can make the BAFTA, I don't know if it's 5 or 6, but then I feel like it would be a lock. And at this point, you kind of have to take that leap of faith, especially in this category where there's so much questions marks to be had because there's films like Frankenstein and Sinners, which are giant Best Picture contenders, but also are like very anti of what this visual effects branch goes for. Sinners just blanked with VES and BAFTA, which is not a great shout for it, which could lead to the potential snub here, which I currently do have on the outside looking at. And Frankenstein missed out on VES entirely as well. So like there's so many negatives this year where it could be easy to revert to just the Best Picture nominees. But again, this category shows that they don't always just do the Best Picture nominees.
Well, that's the hardest part of this category. So many of these films missed the VES where they should have made it. In fact, only 4 of our 10 made the VES in any way. It made the VES in one of the main categories, being Avatar, F1, Lost Bus, and Jurassic World Rebirth. Lost Bus, I agree with you. It's my number three. It's also one of the films that was highlighted at the VFX Bake Off as apparently the audience having an audible reaction to it afterwards, going like, "Oh my God, how did you do that?" Which is crazy. Having seen the film, I'm like, I don't see how that movie could. I don't know. It's not going to be my favorite of the nominees here. But the other film that got a VES nomination and was highlighted as one of the big highlights of the visual effects Bake Off was Jurassic World Rebirth. But that is probably like the worst received Jurassic Park movie ever, maybe. And the only Jurassic Park movie, actually, I think they only ever gave visual effects nominations to the first two Jurassic Park movies. They have shortlisted every single Jurassic Park movie since, but have never given a nomination.
Jurassic World Rebirth is fine. Like I think it's on the same level as some of the recent Jurassic World movies, especially like Fallen Kingdom and Dominion. But like you said it right there, it's the fact that each one of these films always gets shortlisted. I assume they always go to the Bake Off with a pretty good put together reel, but they always miss the nomination. And in a year that has so many Best Picture contenders as well as films that make sense on paper, I find it hard for them to reach down to Jurassic World. And I would say you say Electric State's the only one that's not possible. I would also include Jurassic World and Tron as three movies I'm not considering whatsoever here in visual effects. That leaves me with 7. And if I have the top 3 that we agree upon, I'm kind of leaning towards Superman, even though DC has an awful track record. Superman's doing what it needs to in the lead up for visual effects. It's been missing some weird stuff, like it missed the Golden Globes box office award. It's missed some guilds here and there, but it's also been making quite a few of these shortlists here at the Oscar as well as the BAFTA. So I feel like that could slide into the number 4 slot. And Wicked for Good has everything it needs to get this nomination. But also, if you have Wicked getting all of these texts in support, then like how does it make sense for it to not be more in the Best Picture conversation or Ariana Grande to be a lock if you have it getting 5 or 6 tech nominations? I feel like this is one that's kind of easy to pluck out. It's just like Frankenstein and Sinners just have so much going against it in this category that's really hard to include them. But I feel like I'm gonna have to pick one. It's just which one do I want to lean towards at this moment?
Yeah, I had Wicked for Good in because of the first film getting a nomination. And even though this one's so much less strong than the first one, it seems like, the visual effects actually improved in this one. Watching some of the reels that they released of the visual effects in it, it's so clear, like, it's just all green screen stuff. It's all there's just really not a lot going on in this one, and I can't see it impressing people at the VFX Bake Off. And apparently, at the VFX Bake Off in the Q&A portion, people were mostly highlighting you guys did better than the first one, which could be a good sign because the first one got a nomination, but the first was a movie that people liked more. So I don't know. I have Wicked for Good out. Frankenstein, I do have in because it seems like the only thing that people are really highlighting as a negative is the animals in it. I feel like there's enough other effects that some people who are really against the wolves in this will just go, but they did a good enough job with the other stuff. And I do have Superman here, despite it missing VES. That's a weird miss. It has made everything else. And they just do superhero movies quite often. Usually we get a superhero movie. Usually it's not a DC movie, but usually we get like something superhero in here, and that's our only superhero option. I just feel better about that than I do about something like Sinners, where the takeaways from the VFX Bake Off is just like they had a second guy do it. They did twins. They did twins. And I don't know. It doesn't feel like that film's best picture strength is going to push it in here. Otherwise, it would have made the BAFTA list. It would have made VES. I just comfortably have it sitting outside of my top five.
Sinners would be my number 6 at this moment, where if Lost Bus turns out to be fake or Superman, for whatever reason, the DC plague over it, just the cloud doesn't allow people to want to vote for it in this category, then it would be what I would slide in. But I do agree. Frankenstein is my number 5 at this moment, largely due to a lot of what you said, but there's also this giant correlation with production design and visual effects, where I feel like a lot of the set extensions will work in Frankenstein's favor to push it in here. But it's also something where there's so much negative talk about the wolves, and we haven't really heard much out of the Bake Off pro or against Frankenstein, where it's kind of like, I'd love to hear that people raved about it and said, oh my gosh, that was such cool work. Think of Napoleon a few years ago, how that got in largely off of set extensions. And I guess that's also an argument for Wicked as well, but Frankenstein obviously is a top 5 in the Best Picture race, and Wicked's probably closer to 15 to 20 in the Best Picture race.
So let's move to the sound category. Another one that I think, actually, no, this one's a little bit more clear. This one's a little bit more clear than what we got with visual effects, because I think it's pretty easy to see F1, One Battle After Another, Sinners, and Frankenstein. Those 4 are lockety-locked. They all got BAFTA. They all got nominations at the Motion Picture Sound Editors Society. So those 4, they're solid. The question is just, what is number 5? And I'm going to say right now, it's not Springsteen. It's not Superman. And it could be Mission Impossible, but I'm going to say it's not Mission Impossible. That might haunt me, but fuck it. It's not Mission Impossible. So that leaves us with Sarat, Wicked, and Avatar. Now, Wicked and Avatar both missed the main category at MPSE. Wicked did make it for best, I think it's like best singing or best music, something at Motion Picture Sound Editors, but I'm not counting that. I'm not counting that. That's not a real nomination. It didn't make it in theatrical feature. But Sarat, although it didn't make the BAFTA, it did make one of the main categories at the Motion Picture Sound Editors, and it's just a cool fucking shout here. I'm going to go Sarat for my last one. I'm going to snub Avatar, snub Wicked, which both are on the downward trajectory in terms of awards reception. Sarat just is such a cool nomination. I'm going to trust that the sound branch can do something like that.
All right, as I am editing this video, Cinema Audio Society just officially released their nominations, so I am going to back off of my original pick of Avatar Fire and Ash. The fact that it hasn't showed up anywhere yet means I can't continue to have it in my nominations here. The same 4 that Matt and myself have of F1, Frankenstein, One Battle After Another, and Sinners all do show up, with the 5th nomination being Mission Impossible: A Final Reckoning. So my real decision here has to come down to, do I want a lone Mission Impossible sound nomination, Or do I want to join in with everyone else? Go with the cool thing. Go with Surratt. It's gotten the mentions so far where it is eligible, and I think I'm just gonna do that. Especially paired with the fact that I have it in an international feature. So yeah, we have the same 5 for sound. That's the moves over into best original song, where I don't know if we're going to differ here. I feel like we've been the same 5 pretty much all season long, with K-pop Demon Hunters Golden going on to win. It's won everything so far. It's going to go on to win this as well. But I Lied to You getting in, Diane Warren getting her a guaranteed slot, and something that both you and I have been on the train for all season long. Gold Derby has at 2% likely odds. Come See Me in the Good Light, Salt Than Sour Than Sweet. And I think for us more so, it's what's the question of number 5? Well, I know for a lot of other people, it's
Yeah.
like what to do with 4 and 5.
Girl in the Bubble.
Yeah, it's
Girl
got
in the Bubble.
everything. I get Wicked is weak, but I mean, this is tying to Wicked's strongest chance of a nomination over in Best Supporting Actress. Ariana Grande singing the song, the fact that it's gotten every precursor so far, and the fact that Score has been overperforming in places where it can overperform in terms of long list mentions and even getting some nominations. I feel that also ties over to the original song as well.
So let's just talk about the 2 documentary nominations we have here that have not shown up anywhere else. Yes, we can just say Diane Warren's in, but I think a really good thing that we can look at is specifically the precursor, the Society of Composers and Lyricists, SCL. Now, they are very indicative of what's going to happen in the song and score categories because they forecasted last year that Wicked would get that nomination in Best Score. They very often will show when something is just like a Golden Globes Critics' Choice movie and does not have the juice to make it elsewhere. So this year, they went with Golden, I Lied to You, Girl in the Bubble. They went also Last Time I Seen the Sun, No Place Like Home, and they did give shout outs to Dear Me and Salt Then Sour Than Sweet. Now, the thing is, we can say Golden Globes, Critics' Choice don't matter missing for Dear Me and Salt Than Sour Than Sweet because they don't, Golden Globes and Critics' Choice, they don't do documentary songs. They don't give a shit about documentary songs. So it doesn't matter that those missed there. But you know what does matter? Last Time I Seen the Sun from Sinners, yes, it got SCL, but it missed Golden Globes and Critics' Choice. Doesn't have the momentum. No Place Like Home, it missed Critics' Choice, got Golden Globe, but there was a lot of nominees at the Golden Globes, and that was when Wicked for Good still looked promising at that time. So I think both of those movies are sort of out of the running. Train Dreams as well missed Society of Composers and Lyricists, which is a big knock against it. So I'm going with the 5 films that either made everything or just made SCL with a reasonable excuse as to why they did not make Golden Globe Critics' Choice. So that's why it's my top 5.
And I feel like for predicting Train Dreams, which currently is in the top 5 most anywhere you can look, is really going off of Sing Sing's overperformance last year of getting its song in. But to the stats that you're talking about, Sing Sing got those song precursors last year, where Train Dreams has been a little bit more spotty this year down the line. And as we've talked about on this channel numerous times, as we predicted last year, this branch always does a doc song that's not Diane Warren. They will go out for either the songwriters that they like or they will go for the songs that they do enjoy. And last year we had Elton John and Brandi Carlile getting in. And this year, I mean, the Salt and
Eddie
Sour and Sweet
Carlisle, she's
has
back.
has everything that you need for this nomination. You've been calling it since January. I've been right there with you since January. And here we are in the last moments. And still, it's not in the top. I think on awards experts a little bit higher, but on Gold Derby, it's almost at the bottom.
I think it's a little bit higher because I've been screaming about it since last March. I've been like, I think on Awards Expert, my song category still has Salt Then Sour Then Sweet in my top 5 with the caption, "Don't say I didn't fucking warn y'all." Like,
I think at one
I've
point
been
this year, we
saying
were the
this.
only 2 people predicting it on Awards Expert.
Yeah, and it's gonna get the nomination. It's Brandi Carlile, it's Sarah Bareilles, and it's the late great Andrea Gibbons. Like this is it's got everything that the song branch, the music branch is going to react to. They love their Grammy favorites. They're going to go out for Sarah Bareilles, for Brandi Carlile. I feel very confident in that. So I'm locking in this top 5. I don't care. I don't give a shit what anyone else says. They're in.
Let's just tie off all of these music categories, all these audio categories, best original score here as well. I think we have a pretty locked in top four of
Yes.
Sinners, One Battle, Frankenstein, and Hamnet. Maybe you could call a weird Hamnet snub due to the fact that they're
No, you can.
using music, but the fact that it's eligible, I think, is good enough. It's going to get in. And the real question comes to number five. There's Marty Supreme, there's Surratt, there's F1, there's Wicked for Good, there's Begonia. And you can really pick between one of those. I mean, there's 15 movies on this long list. You got a lot of options.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's 20
Oh,
movies on
there's
this
20
long
now. You're
list.
right.
There's
There's even
20.
more.
There's 20 now. Okay, so Sinners, Frankenstein, One Battle After Another, Hamnet, all of those have every single precursor. That is BAFTA, Golden Globe, Critics' Choice, Society of Composers and Lyricists. That is all big, big, big for it. And so something we can look back to in previous years. There have been big snubs that are indicated by SCL. Last year, challengers missed both BAFTA and SCL, and guess what made SCL? Wicked, Wicked. Ooh. Um, so that is a big indicator. And this year, none of those top four missed SCL. I don't think we can call a snub for any of those. I will just make a little asterisk here because in the past, Alexandre Desplat, who did Frankenstein this year, he has gotten all of those precursors and then been snubbed. He got that for The Midnight Sky, for Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. I think there's other ones I'm forgetting off the top of my head. Desplat has been snubbed in the past. But none of the movies that he's been snubbed for have been a Best Picture movie. They've been films that were score, just score. And that's why I don't think he will be snubbed here because this is a Best Picture player. So, top four, safe. Safe, 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 safe. What else got SCL? What can we look at? Three more movies got the Society of Composers and Lyricists. That is Begonia, Wicked for Good, Train Dreams. Those are the three other movies in this long list. Those are the three other movies in this short list that got Society of Composers and Lyricists. The fifth nomination will be one of those three movies. Last year it was Wicked. I don't think they'll do Wicked again, mostly because the film's just not strong enough. It was a little bit stronger. I'd say, yeah, Wicked for Good gets in here as a show of love for Stephen Schwartz. I don't think that happens, though. Train Dreams, the only nomination it's got the whole season was SCL. Nothing else. Nothing else. I'm going to say that one a little lower because of that. I do think, though, that Begonia showing up on the BAFTA long list and surging at the right time, Begonia is my number five here.
I also have Begonia for a lot of the same points that you just said, on top of the fact that it is a former nominee. And in
Yep,
times of what to do with the fifth slot, it's a mix of the stronger film and it's a mix of the more Academy favorite type composer. And Stephen Schwartz is definitely the biggest name among those three. Begonia is most likely the biggest film among those three and it has the most. And then I guess for Train Dreams, the big knock against it is the fact that this branch, you could say they don't like Desplat. They really don't like Bryce Dessner. They cannot give him anything over the years. He's been in the contention for the fifth slot in both song and score numerous times, and they don't go out for him very often, if ever, on the long list. So I have Begonia here, and it seems like not many people do. It's number 10 on Gold Derby, and it's number 8
crazy.
on Awards Experts.
Marty Supreme, it
That's
missing Golden
nothing.
Globe and it missing SCL, death blow. Death blow. Which sucks because that score fucking rules. Rules. It's dead. It's dead. It's not getting this nomination. I would rank that number nine. I would also say here's a crazy thing to put forward. Diane Warren Relentless. We know that the music branch is fucking compromised. They are compromised. They are all Diane Warren sleeper agents. They will nominate her for anything. Now, the composer of Diane Warren Relentless, the documentary, is not Diane Warren. She would not be getting nominated for this. But is there enough of the music branch that's going to see her name in the title and go, Let's throw her another one. Let's throw her another nomination.
And I guess that is a really good shout. And I think that helps amplify that over an original song, and it helps amplify some of the other borderline score contenders here. Is this is the first year that the composer's name is going to be on the ballot. So
Mm.
in a tiebreaker situation, if there's a bunch of films competing for this fifth slot, maybe Justin Fredericks, yes, he just got a nomination for Poor Things, but maybe that name isn't big enough. What do we do if they default to say, oh my gosh, Hans Zimmer, boom, let's go? But I feel like if F1 was a little bit stronger, it would have got that SCL nomination over something
Yes.
like Train Dreams. The fact that it missed there is enough, but it's also like, I don't want to see it. But if it gets in here, then I think that just bodes well for F1's chances over in Best Picture.
I would love to talk about makeup next because this is one that I have a lot of questions on.
Yeah, I think makeup is a category where there is a top four, but you could make a case for two of those top four having a little bit of an asterisk against them. I think Frankenstein and Sinners are probably in there due to the
Yeah.
fact of their best picture strength on top of the work inside the movie. And then Wicked and The Smashing Machine have everything that you need to be a nomination despite the fact that their films are rather weak right now. Smashing Machine has Kaiju attached to it, and he has been on a roll for his last few films, and Wicked for Good obviously has all of the showcases on top of the fact that it got the nomination last year. But it's also a weird thing I could see for this to be one of the weird, shocking snubs like Dune Part 2 last year, where it has everything and then just misses the Oscar. But also, Wicked has everything.
So I'm going to put forward there's three locks here: Frankenstein, Wicked, Sinners. Smashing Machine is the one that's going to miss. And
Interesting.
here's why. So when we look at MUAH, the Makeup and Hairstylists Guild, they have multiple different categories. They award contemporary makeup, contemporary hair, period makeup, period hair, character makeup, character hair. There's one category that, above all else, is the Oscar predicting category, and that is special effects makeup. That is for big transformations. That's where we see things like Frankenstein, because that's where they talk about, the Frankenstein monster makeup. That's where we see Wicked for Good, because they're talking about the transformation of Ethan Slater. That's where we get Sinners, because of Jack O'Connell's face basically falling off. And notably, One Battle After Another squeezed into that category. So, One Battle After Another got a special effects makeup nomination. There are two other films in the top 10 that got mentions at Makeup and Hairstylist Guild, but did not get into the special effects makeup category. That is The Smashing Machine, which got period makeup. It's either period or contemporary. I can't remember which one it got, but I think it got contemporary. Contemporary makeup and contemporary hair. And Marty Supreme, which got period hair. Neither of those movies made special effects makeup. And something in the past, Kazuhiro, he does prosthetics. He always gets special effects makeup, and he didn't for The Smashing Machine.
I'm right there with you with the feeling. I think year after year, this branch continues to show they could care less about what's getting nominated in any other category. They care most about the work that's put on front in the screen. And I think that's really shown by this short list here. You have films like The Alto Knights, you have Nuremberg, you have The Ugly Stepsister also showing up. Stuff that's not going to be mentioned anywhere else at the Academy Awards, even if every category had a short list of 10 to 15 nominations. I guess Nuremberg made into score. So asterisk there, I guess. But there's 20 there. So I do agree with you. Coco, who is my fifth. And I'm just currently going to look at the Makeup and Hairstyling Guild just to see in the examples of Kazuhiro's past when he does get the Oscar nomination, has he ever missed that? Because that's something I did not know, that he wasn't in the main category there. And that's a really good point, where if this is the first time in his career where he has missed that, maybe it's time to switch out Smashing Machine just due to how much people just don't really care about that movie, and maybe they'll win One Battle After Another. So
I'm
he's
on
been
the category
nominated.
here.
He's been nominated for The Darkest Hour. He's been nominated for Bombshell, Maestro, Gaslit, and Planet of the Apes.
This is the category to look at, though. This is the category to look at. And the fact that they did not nominate. Oh, another one. Last year, this was a massive indicator for A Different Man, because it got best special effects makeup at the Guild.
You know what? You know what? I'll make a hot switch here. I'll throw one battle at my number five and take out the Smasher Machine. Due to what you just said right there with A Different Man. That's a film that I said, despite its critic support, wasn't going to show up. And then if it got the Guild and then it went on to get the Oscar to make me look dumb, not gonna let it get me twice in a row. So I'll drop. Maybe I should keep smashing it and have one battle, but I think Kokohu has exactly what this branch would go for. So maybe that is a bold, maybe it's a dumb choice, but I guess I am going 5 for 5 overlap with you in this category.
Moving on from makeup, I'd love to talk production design, mostly because I want an easy category where we don't have to debate anything, because I think this is our first locked five we're going to talk about, because all five of these movies have made everything. BAFTA, Critics' Choice, Art Directors Guild. That's Frankenstein, Sinners, Wicked for Good, Hamnet, and Marty Supreme. Made everything. So I'm going to lock that in. I'm going to say if there's a surprise, it's one battle after another. But I don't know. I think we got a locked five here.
That really pains me to hear. I have to agree. If it's gotten in everywhere and it hasn't missed a beat yet, and it's a Best Picture nomination, can't really pluck out Marty Supreme because Avatar. I want to have it in here to pair with the visual effects when we've seen, with the exception of the Jungle Book and Godzilla minus one, every winner for the last like 15 or 20 years has gotten a production design nomination. And you can clearly point to why those two films did not get in. Godzilla minus one was the most shocking visual effects winner we've had maybe in the category's history, even over Ex Machina, because Ex Machina at least was in the conversation for other stuff. And Jungle Book is very much a film that would not really be considered for visual effects, considering it's all, I mean, I guess that's the same thing for Avatar too, but Avatar, they're
Yeah.
still creating the worlds. So it's a super weird miss, but the fact that Marty has everything so far, it's kind of hard for me to exclude that out, and Wicked just makes sense to get in this category, even if it's not strong in Best Picture. Yeah, I'll throw Avatar out. I'll keep Marty Supreme in my five, and moving over to another category where maybe Marty Supreme should be my number five is over in Best Costume Design, because just like production design, I think there is a locked in top four. You got Frankenstein, Sinners, Hamnet, and Wicked for Good. And the fifth spot is a question because not Hamnet, because Hedda had everything you needed and then misses the BAFTA long list. The
Yeah.
Testament of Anne Lee has been a non-starter all season long, and Kiss of the Spider Woman did really well out of the gate, but then has missed everything since then. So for me, that leaves two films of Marty Supreme and one battle after another. And it's really, which direction do you want to go with? Do you want to go with more of the period piece where there's so many different costumes and so many different characters? Or do you want to go with the more name to the branch? Because this is a year where your name of the costume designer is going to be on the ballot, as well as the top film in the Best Picture race, as well as some very showy and very like, oh my gosh, that costume, it's so recognizable. And that's kind of where I'm leaning to at this moment, is one battle after another for my fifth slot in costume design.
Damn, Dylan, we keep doing the same thing. One battle after another. Colleen Atwood did this one, and Colleen Atwood, her clout, plus this being a possible coattail nomination for a Best Picture frontrunner. One battle after another. The only thing going against One Battle After Another right now, which has the BAFTA long list, has the Costume Designers Guild nomination. Only thing going against it is that it's a contemporary film, which typically struggles to get Oscar nominations. That's the only thing against it. Otherwise, Hedda, why did you miss BAFTA? BAFTA is typically the best precursor for costumes. Typically, that's what we mirror. You can just plunk down the BAFTA 5, and usually you'll get 4 or 5 correct. That was how we could have forecasted A Complete Unknown last year. We didn't, because we didn't listen to BAFTA, but BAFTA knows what they're talking about. Hedda did not make it. Meanwhile, Marty Supreme only got the BAFTA long list, did not make Critics' Choice, did not make Costume Designers Guild period category. And that to me, that's the killer. So one battle after another has everything it needs. Again, the only thing against it is the fact that it is a contemporary film. So I'm riding with that one. Hedda could surprise me here, though.
Now let's move over to Best Cinematography. And this is another one where we've had a lot of information fed to us these last few weeks. Yes, we don't have the BAFTA nominations, but we do have ASC and we do have BSC. And guess what? They overlap with 3 of their 5 nominations. So One Battle, Sinners, Hamnet, or in 4, not Hamnet,
No,
sorry.
not
One
Hamnet.
Battle,
Not
Sinners,
Hamnet.
and
Not Hamnet.
Frankenstein. Yes, not Hamnet, not Hamnet. I was looking at the list that I had an update on Gold Derby in like 5 months.
Hamnet
Frankenstein, not Hamnet.
notably missed both the American Society of Cinematographers and the British Society of Cinematographers. Hamnet is fuckoed in this category. Done. Dunzo. Not happening. It's gone, which personally I'm very happy about. I'm very happy about. But it's not happening. If it does happen, it's based entirely on love for the movie. So right now, yeah, like you said, three movies have everything: Sinners, One Battle After Another, Frankenstein. I would also toss in Train Dreams, which got ASC, missed BSC, but also it's a film that just has not performed well in Britain. It didn't do well at BAFTA either. So I can write that off. That's the top four. Question is number five. Do we go with the ASC final pick, Marty Supreme? Yes. Yes, we do. It also got BSC. It got both of them. Yeah, we go with that one. Um, or do we go with Die My Love, which got BAFTA, got BSC? Do we go with Begonia, which is surging, got BAFTA? Do we go with F1, which got Critics' Choice, BAFTA, but missed ASC? No, 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 no. Marty Supreme is number five. Wrap it up. Wrap it up. Locked top five, in my opinion.
I have four of the same five. I'm still debating what to do with my fifth slot. Mario Supreme is in my four. Train Dreams is a film that's at my fifth slot where I should have it in. It has the CCA win, just like Nosferatu got last year, which helped propel it to its Oscar nomination. It has the ASC mention, but the fact that it missed BSC and it missed BAFTA cast a little bit of a doubt. Not enough for me to take it out of my category. Begonia is an alternative. It's just I would have loved to see that be the extra film at BSC to get that nomination. If that was there and not Die My Love, then boom, easy swap. I would have thrown in Begonia. And Nouvelle Vague is something that I still think is on the outside looking in. I don't have to get in the nomination, but something all year long I've had in my top 10 because of this branch's just lust for black and white films. It doesn't matter if the black and white films are shot overtly interesting. They see black and white and they're going to go out of their way to do it. And I would also say Begonia does have scenes in black and white. So if that does show up, that could just be the reason why. But I am keeping Trade Dreams as my fifth slot. But I would say if one of those two were to miss for either a Begonia or a Hamnet or Weird Resurgence, I would lean more towards Trade Dreams than Marty Supreme.
Editing. I think we got four locks here. We got One Battle After Another, F1, Sinners, Marty Supreme. That's four. That's 4. What do we do with 5? And I think that it's between 3 films here: Hamnet, Frankenstein, Begonia, all of which got the BAFTA long list. It's just a question of, do they go more action oriented with Frankenstein? Do they go with the strongest film in Best Picture with Hamnet? Or do they go with the film that's surging at the right moment with Begonia? I'm going to go Hamnet. I'm going to go Hamnet because it is the strongest in Best Picture. And we often see a correlation between Best Picture strength and an editing nomination. Even if this film hasn't performed as well in some of the tech categories, I feel like editing, I would be really, really surprised if this missed.
And I think for me, the more question comes down to is just like you said for the strength in best picture, but I also would say the strength in best director. And I would say, obviously, if you have PTA with One Battle, if you have Coogler with Sinners, you then at that point, I would say would probably have Chloe Zhao for Hamden over Guillermo del Toro for Frankenstein. And then obviously Mario Supreme and F1 are performing over to their expectations here in editing. So their correlation for best director doesn't really matter. So I would say in the tiebreaker there, because I have Zhao in director, I'm bringing over Hamnet in editing. But if Hamnet misses editing for Frankenstein, then maybe on the day of, we see Guillermo get into director at the peril of Chloe Zhao. Or maybe they just one and one. One gets one and one gets the other, but rarely does it really work that way.
We'll talk director soon. Chloe Zhao's not missing. She's not missing.
We will talk about it soon. I don't have her missing, but there is something interesting to add to that conversation.
Okay, we'll talk about that in a moment. But let's talk these 3 specialized categories next, because I think international doc, animation, there's some things we can talk about.
So let's do the easy one first. Let's just knock out animated feature.
Animated. Oh yeah, let's go animated.
There's 5 movies here. You don't even need to consider anything else. K-pop, Zootopia, Little Amelie, Arco, Elio. They have everything. BAFTA. They're going to do 3 nominations this year. K-pop's ineligible. Boom. There's 4 other movies. Pick 3 of them. Boom. You're set to go. Nothing else has a nomination where another film missed. Yes, Demon Slayer has the Golden Globe, but they did 6 nominations. Elio didn't miss.
Also has PGA.
But again, Elio didn't miss there.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, okay, it is a locked five. I'm just scared of Demon Slayer. I'm scared because of my theory that some voters, I know animation voters. I know animation voters. It is completely possible that people see Demon Slayer and go, "Oh, that's the K-pop Demon Slayer movie." It is entirely possible. No one hates modern animated films more than the people that I know that vote in the animated category. Period. Period. These people, it is a chore for to watch these modern animated films. Like no one hates modern animation more than the animation voters.
It,
So,
it, that's
I
the
don't
fun
know.
stuff. The voters who vote for the categories, and I think that's one of the reasons why they're putting that rule for that you actually have to watch the stuff to be able to vote, is so that they know people are voting, not specifically just for animated voters, but for voters at large. I'm sure the same thing could be said about some other categories. It's like, oh my gosh, you're making me watch this category's vote. I don't care about half of these movies, and I think that's will be an interesting thing to see play out this year. And I think if we have any weird or super shocking type stuff. Like if Surratt does get into like casting, that shows that they watched all 10 of those movies and saw like, hey, the casting choices here in Surratt are truly incredible, so unique. We have to give this love, even if Surratt, even if casting's his only nomination. I think that would be something to show that hey, the mandate to have to actually watch the nominees is showing in the nominations themselves.
Let's talk next about international feature because this is another one that I think, at least for me, I'm just plopping down a five. I'm plopping down an easy five. I'm aiming for four. That's what I'm doing in this category. I'm aiming for four locks here. Sentimental Value, Secret Agent, it was just an accident. We know those three are in. Then there's two other Neon movies. Surratt, no other choice. It would be easy to say Surratt is a lot stronger because of its shortlist performance. I don't necessarily think it's safe to say Surratt is 100% in and no other choice is 100% out. And also, here's the other thing. If you were to take one of these Neon movies out, I think it could go multiple different ways as to what the surprise nomination is. I don't think it's just as easy as saying, well, it's the voice of Hinderjob. So to me, the safest thing to do here is just go all five Neon movies. You're certain to get four.
And you're going the safe. I'm going for what I want to see happen. Give me four neon movies, but give me the voice of Henry Job. It's my favorite in the category. It's one of my favorite movies of the year. Is that how this category works? No, not at all. But I'm gonna go different than you here. We've been going the same in a lot of categories. It's time for me to take a little bit of a swing. So I am dropping off No Other Choice. I'm keeping Surratt and having the voice of Henry Job. And part of me wants to drop Surratt and No Other Choice and pick up one of those other potential spoilers of Left-Handed Girl or The President's Cake. But I don't feel as strong there, where I do feel like if one of them misses, voice of Henry Job, at least to me, from what we've gotten so far from precursors, shows that it's the clear alternative option. But I also think, depending on how the voters think, some voters might just be like, five neon sounds fun. It sounds cool. It's been in the promo. It's been in the press. They haven't been shy about wanting this category to be five neons. And maybe some voters will be like, yeah, I'm on board. This is cool. This is fun. So maybe going five neons is safer.
I don't know. I just think that this category, they will do something weird every time. This is the category that went with Lunana, a yak in the classroom. This is the category that went with the man who sold his skin. Um, this is a category, I mean, they did Better Days. Every year we get some shocker. I think that the top three are locked, but there's a chance that both Surratt and No Other Choice miss out for something like Late Shift, Palestine 36, All That's Left of You, Kokuho, even. Like, precursors don't matter here. So, to me, Neon 5, that's the safest pick. You're getting three or you're getting four. I just, if I were to go with something not neon, I wouldn't feel safe with anything. I wouldn't feel safe with anything. So I'm sticking with it. I'm, wiping my hands and walking away.
Well, before we move on to our next category, let me check awards expert real quick and check in with our international expert Arno. What does Arno currently have? Arno has the five Neon movies, so he's right there with you. Now to finish up these specialized categories, we have best documentary feature, and this is a category where I think if someone's gone 5 for 5, I would love to see it. It never happens because I
Yeah.
think even more so than international feature, Doc usually throws in one just weird movie that's not even in the top 10 in prediction places of Gold Derby or awards expert. And this year, at least looking, some of these movies are in the bottom five. I've like never even heard of outside of their shortlist mention.
Yeah.
Because like usually, even though I'm not a large enjoyer of documentaries. I don't go seek out a bunch of documentaries, but at least I usually recognize the titles. Like, oh my gosh, yeah, that played at the festival. I could have saw that, but I didn't. And this year, I feel like looking at this long list, maybe half of them, maybe close to 10, I've actually recognized the title. While other ones, I'm like, I've never heard of this. So for me, maybe more so than normal. I might be relying on you. I currently have 7 films I'm looking at, but if you pluck out another one, maybe I can make a place for it because I don't feel good about any of these movies besides maybe one to get a nomination.
Yeah. This is a category where I'm throwing precursors out the window. I'm saying none of that matters. The only film that has performed really well with precursors that I'm predicting here is The Perfect Neighbor, which got BAFTA, Critics' Choice, PGA, DGA. Cover Up also got all four of those, but I'm not predicting Cover Up mostly because I fucking hate that movie. Um, so I'm not predicting Cover Up, but those are the two best performing with precursors. So Perfect Neighbor, though, I'm going to say I think is as close to locked as we can get here. Um, but I have three movies in my top five that have not gotten a single notable precursor, being My Undesirable Friends, Last Air in Moscow, which is the 6 hour long documentary. I think that could win the category. We've talked a lot about that. It could win. It's performed exceptionally. When people watch this movie, they vote for this movie. The problem is that sometimes people don't watch this movie because it's 6 fucking hours long. So I think this is in. Come See Me in the Good Light makes people cry. It makes people feel good, and it's likely getting another nomination. I'm going with that, even though it has missed some of those other precursors that I feel like maybe it should have gotten. So those two, I'm going with Perfect Neighbor, 2,000 Meters to Andrivka. This is the follow up by the guy who did 20 Days in Mariupol. It got BAFTA, it got Critics' Choice, it got DGA. It only missed PGA of the major precursors. And I think that this just makes a lot of sense. And then I round out my category with Coexistence My Ass, another film with really no major precursors. But what it does have is it's the only film in the category talking about Palestine. And I think that there will be support for this from the documentary branch. I could even honestly see a route where this wins. And in the absence of not having Put Your Soul in Your Hand and Walk, Coexistence My Ass is the film that I am replacing it with. I'm also biased because this is my favorite documentary of the year. But I just feel like topic does so much here. And I think that that can be enough to elevate it into the category since it's on the short list. I would also say Cover Up, Apocalypse in the Tropics, Mr. Nobody Against Putin. Those three are all very possible. They're all outside looking in. But specifically for Cover Up, Apocalypse in the Tropics, 2,000 Meters to Andrivka, those three are all directed by previous nominees in the category. And I feel like I've done a breakdown on this in the past. It's really rare to get a second nomination in documentary feature. It's even more rare to get like your fourth or fifth one, which would be Laura Poitras for Cover Up. Repeat nominations are rare, and I'm gonna choose one, and I'm gonna roll with it, and that's 2,000 Meters. I think it's the strongest of the repeat nominations. But like, you look back at past years, you maybe get one repeat nomination in a year. It's like you're not getting multiple repeat nominations happening in the same year. So even though it's tempting to put all of Cover Up, 2,000 Meters, Apocalypse there, I think you got to choose one of those three movies. and roll with it.
Yeah, coming into this, the five I had were The Perfect Neighbor, My Undesirable Friends, Come See Me in the Good Light, 2000 Meters, and Apocalypse in the Tropics. And I don't think I'm going to change from those five. I'm going to keep them. I get what you say about the two nominees, but just like international feature, do I feel confident in which one of those two is going to miss? And do I feel confident
Good point.
of what the other film to come in is going to be? Not exactly. Cover Up, I get, has everything, but like you said, this would be like her fourth or fifth, and she just got one a few years ago. And the reason why I think she got in for that one is the fact that it was the critics by far front runner.
Yeah.
Cover Up, I don't really think is dominating the critics like that. That's more going towards like My Undesirable Friends, which I do agree with you. If it gets nominated, it would or most likely could win. But again, Perfect Neighbor is such a populist film. But again, to vote, you need to watch all the nominees. So the people who love Perfect Neighbor, who saw on Netflix, and this is the only doc that they've seen, they can't vote because they haven't seen the 6 hour doc. I'm with you there, but I could totally see both of us going like 2 for 5 here because Undesirable Friends could easily miss. Come See Me in the Good Light is the type of thing they normally exclude. And 2000 Meters is a repeat nominee, so is Apocalypse and Tropics for me. So like one of those, or if not both of those, could be the ones on the outside looking in.
Yeah. Honestly, you make a really good argument. Just pick multiple of the multi-time nominees, and one of them is going to get in. But likely, I mean, statistically, it's unlikely that multiple would get in.
And looking at both Gold Derby and Awards Expert, both of these have the Alabama Solution in their top five. Neither of us
Yep.
have really mentioned that movie so far. And Awards Expert has Mr. Nobody Against Putin in their top five. And
Yeah, I
Seeds, I
mean,
guess,
Mr.
too.
Nobody Against Putin is in the top five on awards expert because it's been there since Sundance. Don't they also have Seeds in the top
Yeah,
five on
Seeds
awards
is number
expert?
five as well.
That's fucked. That's not happening.
Yeah, Seeds is something I know personally was something I had in mind at the beginning of the year because it was like number one on every place. And then when we did our first documentary predictions, you were like, no, this movie's not happening. It was like, cool,
No.
that's all I need to know. It made the short list at least, but
It made the short list. But yeah, no, it's number one. It was number one at the beginning of the year because it won the top prize in the U.S. documentary competition at Sundance. So when it wins that, some people are going to put it number one at the beginning of the year, and they're never going to change it, and that's why it's there.
well, let's move into some of these above the line categories. We're almost at the end. I feel like we're making good pace. I guess we'll see in the editing room what timestamp we're actually at. But let's do adapted. I feel like this is the easier of the two screenplays. Honestly, I think it's a five and forget. You
Yeah.
have One Battle, Hamnet, Begonia, Frankenstein, Train Dreams.
Yep. There's nothing else. There's nothing else that can happen. So set and forget. That's the top five.
Which is so weird because I feel like early in the season, this was the super competitive category. And really, each award show has just shown, hey, this is the five we want to do. And if we have a six, it's no other choice. Maybe it's Wake Up Dead Man, but like nothing else is even like surprise. Like Nuremberg has even popped up anywhere yet. I guess to some people's early season predictions, Springsteen hasn't shown up anywhere yet. And like even after going down there, it's like Wake Up Dead Man, but Netflix isn't even doing a campaign for that movie. So this is just the five.
There's nothing else. But original screenplay, that's a hard category. That is a hard category because there's a lot of things that could happen and nothing has convincing precursors for me. So, Sinners, Sentimental Value, Marty Supreme, It Was Just an Accident. Those movies, they all have everything. Even It Was Just an Accident, which got fucked at BAFTA. It got into the screenplay long list at BAFTA. I think that top four, they're solid. They're just coasting along, coasting along. Now, the question is, what's number five? And I think that there's four movies that you can draw from. One of them being The Secret Agent, likely in Best Picture, has not made any screenplay lists outside of the BAFTA long list. That's the only thing that it's gotten, and it's not even guaranteed to get a BAFTA nomination. Secret Agent is a movie that, like I'm Still Here last year, could get into picture without screenplay. So that's one that's possible. Currently, that's my number five. We also have Weapons, which got the Critics' Choice nomination. It got the BAFTA long list. It has Amy Madigan on its side. It is very writerly. PGA, definitely a big help for this one. I think that's also possible. And if Amy Madigan's in the win conversation, it would need a screenplay nomination, in my opinion. In my opinion, needs those two nominations. There's also Sorry Baby, which got the Critics' Choice, missed the BAFTA, only has Critics' Choice. But what else does it have? Julia Roberts' glowing endorsement of it at the Golden Globes. Do I think that writers are going to give a shit about that? No, I don't think so. So I'm not putting that in. And then we've got Blue Moon, which Ethan Hawke, that's the big thing with this one. Like with Weapons, you have an acting nomination. Unlike with Weapons, this does not have PGA and this does not have CCA. It does have BAFTA long list though, and it is a very writerly movie. If we had WGA at this point, they would likely put this in the absence of some of the other category.
Well, that's the
No?
fun thing is WGA, we don't have it, but Sorry Baby and Blue Moon both aren't eligible. So
Oh,
if
I
we
didn't
had
realize Blue Moon's not
WGA, it
eligible.
would be like Sinners, it would be Marty, it would be Weapons, Jay Kelly, and Is This Thing On? Or If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, House of Dynamite, maybe. So yeah, like even if we had WGA, it wouldn't be very helpful this year because the two international movies are obviously out. The three international movies actually are obviously out, and then Sorry Baby and Blue Moon both aren't eligible. Blue Moon's something I've had in this category forever, but I just don't feel it anymore. I feel like it could be the non-best picture nominee that we get here because if you look in adapted, those are five Best Picture nominees. You look here in original, you can make a case. These could be five Best Picture nominees if you have It Was Just an Accident, Secret Agent rounding out your five. Or I guess with Arno, Sorry Baby. But or some people even with Weapons. I don't know. I just don't feel like we're gonna get a year where all 10 screenplays are gonna come from our Best Picture 10. I know it rarely works out that way because usually there's six in adapted or six in original. But I don't know. I just feel like, and this also shouldn't be taken like super serious. But there was a post the other day a contingent of Brazil voters in the Academy all having a group chat of how to push their movie to their respective branches of the Academy, and they were saying, "Oh, we're just worrying about actor, we're worrying about picture, and we're worrying about international feature. We're not worrying about anything else." Just like I'm still here last year. You want to believe that? Then Secret Agent and Screenplay isn't having the Brazil bots inside the Academy push push their narrative for them. But I don't know. I have Weapons as my fifth slot. I think if we had WGA, it would have that nomination. I think it could make our BAFTA five, and I just think it fits the mold of the non-Best Picture nominee on the back of Amy Madigan's additional nomination. But Sorry Baby and Blue Moon both fit that as well.
Hear me out. Every year, we normally get a lone screenplay nominee. Screenplay, one nomination, that's it. This year, Sorry Baby fits that bill. But you know what else fits that bill? If it wasn't an international film, it was just an accident. Really want to make it clear for people. I'm not saying accident misses international. I'm saying that if we're not counting international because it's so out, like most films are not eligible for that category, like I would basically consider it a lone nominee. The same way that like the worst person in the world getting a screenplay nomination feels a little bit like a lone nominee because it's not represented anywhere else except international feature.
That's fair. That's fair. And that's a very good point. I think that could fit the mold for the stat heads out there. Be like, oh my gosh, I had to project a original screenplay nominee. You could do that with accident. But I guess we'll have to see going forward
We'll
if
have to
we
see.
currently
Well,
have that in Best Picture or not. Let's move us over to supporting actor, where I think this is a copy paste five from every other award show. Stellan, Penn, Del Toro, Mescal, Alordi. Your order, you can change it however you want. That's the top five on Gold Derby. I'm assuming that's the top five on Awards Expert, and I'm assuming that's both of our fives as well.
yeah. I mean, that's just what it is. Because especially when other groups have gone for someone different, they disagree on who, right? Like Miles Caton got SAG over Stellan Skarsgård, but didn't get the BAFTA long list. Didn't get Golden Globe, didn't get Critics' Choice. There's no consensus number six here. So it's just Skarsgård, Del Toro, Elordi, Penn, Mescal. Said it, forget it. Let's talk supporting actress now, where I'm going to take a big swing. Ariana Grande, gone.
That seems to be the consensus at this moment, and it makes sense,
Really?
especially
Ooh.
I feel like I don't know on the production apps. I guess here, Gold Derby, she is number five. Awards expert, she's probably still number five over there. Let's look once it loads. Yeah, she's still. So currently, Ariana Grande is number 5 in both Gold Derby and Awards Expert, but Awards Expert gives you trajectory, and she is down 31% for a nomination. I don't know how long that period is, but Odessa Zion is up 39% for a nomination.
Wow.
So I think a lot of people after she got the SAG is like, hey, this is Monica Barbaro 2.0. She's on the BAFTA long list. My struggle with Ariana Grande is the fact that she has everything so far. We have to assume she will make the BAFTA lineup of 6 actors that they'll have. So it's like, would she be this year's Viola Davis or Lady Gaga or Margot Robbie getting every precursor and missing out on the eventual nomination, which could work out? But to me, it's just such a hard reach to go for, just because she is the face of the film's campaign. And if she's getting the song, or if she's not getting the song nomination, but the song is attached to her acting nomination, I think that's something where both of those would fall out. So I do have her in. I just don't know how to make my 5 because I have Inga in here, I have Wumi in here, and I want to put Odessa in based off of the hype that she's been getting these last few weeks, off of the Monica Barbaro trajectory. It's just like, I don't have the space, but I should make the space.
Yeah, you should make the space for Odessa. The momentum is there for her. Especially, it was really smart that they released her audition tape right, right when voting opened. That was
Hmm.
incredible campaigning by A24. Yeah, to me, Taylor, Madigan, Ibstar Lilius, Mosaku, Zion. That's the top 5. Ariana Grande could knock out Masaku or Zion, but I'm not going to count on it. I think that the 5 is the 5. So, best actress. Let's talk about this one next. Um, this one, it's tricky. It's tricky because Kate Hudson is lurking in the shadows. And I'm going to say, I'm sticking with what feels safe, being Jessie Buckley, Rose Byrne, Emma Stone, Renata Reinsva, Chase Infinity. That's my 5. I think that's probably going to be most people's 5. Um, Kate Hudson is my sleep paralysis demon. She's not real. She can't hurt me, but maybe she can. Maybe she can. I'm going to say, though, I think she's Pamela Anderson in The Last Showgirl, and I'm going to leave her out.
Lead actress: Amy Adams, Cynthia Erivo, Demi Moore, Carla Sofia Gascon, Kate Winslet, Marion
Yeah,
Jean-Baptiste,
so
Marissa
good.
Abella, Mikey Madsen, Nicole Kidman, and Saoirse Ronan. So no, Kate Hudson though has BAFTA long list this year, while Pamela Anderson didn't. And that's my thing is like, just like supporting actors, R5 gets in everywhere. None of them have missed a beat besides Renata Reinsva for sentimental value at SAG, but obviously there's a giant asterisk there is the fact that they have not
They
done
didn't do
any
anything.
international acting performance outside of Amelia Perez and like their whole history. That one in retrospect, you kind of been like, oh yeah, that's why I didn't get in. And I guess if you put Hudson in, the one that makes the most sense to take out is Chase Infinity. Yes, she's attached to the Best Picture, most likely winner, but she is giving her feature film debut. She is so young, but this is a category that doesn't mind going with young actresses. I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Chase Infinity is within a year of Mikey Madsen's age. And
Yeah.
Mikey Madsen just won last year. So, like, I don't think that can be, I don't think her age can be a knock, but I think the fact that it's her feature film debut, possibly, but she's attached to the Best Picture winner. So, like, I don't want to take her out. So then you look at other options. Emma Stone, her movie Surging, she's also Emma Stone. I think even if Begonia wasn't in pictures, she would be in. Veronica Reinsva, Miss SAG, but also she has everything else, and this film is top 5, and that really leaves you with Rose Byrne. And maybe there's a shocking snub. She gets everything at the last minute. If I had legs, I kick, you couldn't push it over the finish line, but I don't want to predict that. I feel
No,
that's
that's
dumb.
crazy.
She's currently number 1 on a Gold Derby right now. She's above Jessie Buckley for some
What?
reason.
That makes no
But
sense.
yeah, I think I'm just sticking with the 5, but I do acknowledge that Kate Hudson probably, I would say it's like a 50-50 if she shows up on Oscar morning.
The biggest hit against Chase Infinity for me isn't that she's young or that it's her first performance. The biggest hit is that it's a supporting role and it's in the lead category. That's the biggest knock against that nomination. It's but I think she gets in here. I'm gonna hope she does. Oh God, Kate Hudson making it in here would not be good. That would really suck for me. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna stick with that 5. You know what gives me pause though? Um, Jammed Out, our our buddy who in the past 2 years has ranked top 5 on Awards Expert both years in nominations. He's predicting a Kate Hudson nomination, and that worries the hell out of me. I wanted to go and cross reference to be like, What am I missing here? What are the possibilities? Because Jammed sees things that no one else sees.
He's
He's
got the
better at
vision.
this than either of us are. So,
He's got the vision. He's got the vision, and that'll be interesting to see how it all plays out here coming down the line. Because that's a move us to Best Actor, where I would said 2 weeks ago, Set and Forget Five, Timmy, Leo, Wagner, Michael, and Ethan Hawke, but Jesse Plemons has shot up like a rocket after the actor nomination, after the BAFTA long list, after most likely a BAFTA nomination, and Begonia rising the ranks to Best Picture. My issue is where do I make space for him? Is it Michael B. Jordan? Wagner Moore just won the Golden Globe, or is it Ethan Hawke? And I don't feel great about taking either of those out, but I feel like Plemons makes sense to get in here off of a actors and BAFTA combo.
well, remember what I said early on in the season? If you're gonna put Emma Stone in, if you're gonna have the film and picture, you need Jesse Plemons too. And that was my argument for having Stone and picture for Begonia out, is that I couldn't fit Plemons in. Now I have to fit Plemons in. And this is the one category of all the categories, this is the one place where I'm like, I wish that we had the fucking BAFTA nominations.
Hmm.
Because my theory is Michael B. Jordan misses the BAFTA.
I mean, I don't know. BAFTA does six though, so BAFTA could easily just do this, or they don't have Wagner Moore there. He missed the
They don't
BAFTA
have
long list,
Wagner Moura.
so like they could do the five and then throw in Joel Edgerton
Well,
or throw
they'll
in
do Robert Aramayo for I swear, 100% Robert
yeah.
Aramayo.
That is correct. That is correct.
You could
BAFTA
win
does their
there,
own things.
honestly.
So like I don't know. I just feel like BAFTA does six, and that's what I hate about places doing six now is you can no longer find out who's the odd one out because everyone just makes it everywhere.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna lean on what I said months ago, which is blockbuster actors are not guaranteed, even if they get all of the precursors. Last year, this bit me in the ass when I tried to predict Cynthia Erivo missing. She did make it in, but I thought that maybe even with all the precursors, she could be snubbed. This year, I am going to take Michael B. Jordan out because blockbuster actor, you can make it everywhere and you can still be Margot Robbie. So I'm doing that in favor of Plemons because I feel like Ethan Hawke, he's an actor's actor. I feel like he has that industry support, even if the film is not as strong. He's made it in everywhere in a film that doesn't have much support elsewhere. And people love Ethan Hawke. So this is just like a moment to acknowledge him. Wagner Moura, he won the Golden Globe. He's not missing. Um, Michael B. Jordan is the one that I think is vulnerable. He hasn't won anything yet. He is still very young, so he doesn't have the industry cachet that someone like Ethan Hawke does, and it's a blockbuster performance. I think that there's a world that Jesse Plemons doesn't make it in and is just like right on the outside looking in, but the momentum is just there, and I feel like Begonia is surging, and I feel like Sinners might not be the number two that we thought it was. So if that's the case, it can miss one or two of those nominations to keep it from breaking the record of all-time nomination haul. So I'm gonna just ride with that. Jordan falls off. Plemons is in.
Well, I would say if you have Jordan out, then you should put in Grande and supporting actress and take out Musaku.
I would definitely consider doing that.
And I think if Jordan gets in, I think Musaku gets in as well. Not that they're forced to be a pair, but I think that if Jordan, who has been stronger so far, misses out, the person who's been weaker so far with precursors would be missing out as well for someone who's gotten everything. Because I feel like probably at the end of the day, one of Grande or Jordan eventually misses, assuming they have all the precursors to fit into that thing. But I think what propelled Arrivo to that nomination last year is the fact that it was a very showy performance in a top six best picture film at the time of nominations. And I think that Jordan's performance is showy with playing multiple characters with different personalities and whatnot. I get that's been blown out of proportions online, but like it still is an impressive performance. But the fact that he didn't win the Globe brings more doubt for a potential snub where I know Arrivo didn't win last year, but can you make the case in a different year? Arrivo could maybe like if Arrivo was giving the Wicked performance last year, this year, I think that she may have won out over Rose Byrne. But that's a whole like weird comparison of comparing years and whatnot. I don't know. I just don't know if you throw Jordan another year, if he loses the more this year, would he win there? And I think that could point to the eventual snub. I don't
I
know.
don't
Lead
think he
actor is a
wins
weird
any
one.
year. Any year, I don't think he wins. Another category, actually, I think this is the most difficult above the line category. Director.
Hmm.
Director. Um, Paul Thomas Anderson, Ryan Coogler, they're safe. I would say Chloe Zhao is safe. She's made everything. You said that she's not. I'd love to hear your case.
I don't believe this, but the same person who threw $25,000 on Jacob Elordi to win the Golden or to win the Critics' Choice Award just threw $50,000 on Chloe Zhao to Miss Director. Does that mean anything? I don't know. But people who throw that much money around has to know something, is at least my thinking. And if they threw that money on Jacob Elordi a day in advance and Jacob Elordi went on to win, throwing that type of money on Chloe Zhao, double the money on Chloe Zhao to Miss, might mean they have some sort of insider knowledge. I don't know, but I'm
It
not
might
I'm not
also
believing
mean
that.
they're playing with the house's money because how much did they make on that Jacob Elordi bet?
That is true. That's very true. Like I said, it's
That money
not
doesn't
anything I'm
exist.
taking.
That's free money that they're playing with.
I'm not taking it super serious, but I think it is something to consider. Where if it does, ends up happening, boom, Vegas odds always know best. I would say in this category, you can make the case for four people being locks. You can also make the case for Paul Thomas Anderson is the only lock because Michael B. Jordan's missing out in a very Margot Robbie type way. What if Coogler misses out in a very Greta Gerwig or Denis Villeneuve style way? Or what if Chloe Zhao misses just due to the fact that her film may not be up there, but she just won the Golden Globe drama, so I'm not really of that belief. And then Trier has sentimental value, but if that's not winning international feature, it'd be weird for the director nomination to be the international movie that's not winning the category in a
Jacques
very
Audiard.
Amelia Perez last year. But again,
That's a
I
different
don't.
case. That's a
Yeah,
very
that's a
different
different
case. And I
case. I
keep
don't
saying that.
think. And then you go to the other people. Jafar Panahi has the Cannes stat. He has the Palme d'Or. Kleber won multiple awards at Cannes, and there's been a stat for like I think since Cannes has become this major precursor. If you win an award there, you go on to get the director nomination. But there's three of them this year, and I don't know if all three can really fit in there. Del Toro has Netflix behind him in all these tech wins, but I guess Del Toro is starting to feel more like Denis instead of like a Spielberg, where he gets all these tech wins, but they forget who directs the movie. Safdie has the hottest film at the moment of Marty Supreme, and Yorgos made the BAFTA long list. So to me, there's 9 names for 5 spots, and I only really feel good about one of them.
Yep. I'm gonna say right now, I'm just gonna order those nine because I agree with you. That's the nine. Anderson's one. Kugler's two. Zhao is three. I'm gonna put Trier at four. Despite missing DGA, I think that he is the strongest of the Neon group. And if the director's branch goes with an international, which they always do, this is the one. There's that stat that you mentioned. If you are a Cannes competition movie in Best Picture, you make it into Best Director, which gives me pause about Secret Agent because I do have that in Best Picture, but I don't know if I can fit it in Best Director, especially because it hasn't gotten any precursors in Best Director. It did not get BAFTA long list. It did not get Golden Globe. Nothing, 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 nothing. Then number five, I've got Josh Safdie. DGA nomination, film's peaking at the right time. Number six, Guillermo del Toro. I think one of these two makes it in. Honestly, the safest thing to do would just be the DGA 5, drop Trier, put Safdie and Del Toro. You're guaranteed to get 4 out of 5. Um, but I don't know. I don't know which one they'd go with. I'm leaning Safdie right now. Del Toro, I think you're right. He's got the blockbuster thing against him. Kleber is my number 7 because of that can stat. Even though he has no precursors, he could make it in. He could make it into the top 5. Yorgos, number 8. That BAFTA shortlist over people like Del Toro, over Panahi, that's big. Number 9 is Panahi. All he has is Golden Globe. The film is crashing and burning in every other category. He's out. He's not happening.
I think I agree. I have the same top five as you. For as much as I would love to throw in someone else, Trier has everything that he needs. The film's strong enough. It has the canned stuff. It's good to go. And someone has brought this up all season long about the fact that A24, when they have a movie that is top five for Best Picture, their director always comes along. And Josh Safdie is the director of Marty Supreme. The film is arguably top five. Therefore, Josh Safdie should be the director that you have in your top five. So I have PTA, Zhao, Coogler, Trier, and Safdie. But if we do get 2 Cannes competition titles, who are you dropping? Do you drop Safdie or do
I
you
drop
drop Coogler,
Safdie.
Zhao? Okay.
Yeah, Josh
Because for
Safdie.
me, I still have Panahi over Kleber, but I do think there's a chance that we can get two of them. It's just I don't feel great about dropping anyone else, and I think you make a great point. Just of the DGA five.
I might actually say fuck it. And I think I actually am going to put Kleber over Josh Safdie.
Interesting.
I'm going to do the opposite of all five DGA, and I'm going to go uh, three DGA and two neons. Those are my two neons in Best Picture. I'm going to keep the stat going. If you're a Cannes competition movie, you get into director.
So you
And I
have
don't have Accident in my Best Picture, so I'm going to keep Accident out, Panahi out. I'm going to say Mendonça Filho makes it.
So currently, we both have Paul Thomas Anderson, Chloe Zhao, Ryan Coogler, and Joachim Trier. I have Josh Safdie, and you are going with Kleber Mendoza Filho.
Yep. Yep. That's what I'm going to do. We're
Here
going
we
to lock it
go.
in.
And now we've made it all the way back to the end. Hopefully, this has been less than 2.5 hours. Back to Best Picture. And I guess the first question has been: has anything changed? I'm assuming we both still have one battle: Sinners, Hamnet, Frankenstein, Marty, Sentimental Value, Begonia, The Secret Agent, and Train Dreams as our top nine.
That is my top nine. Yeah. And honestly, I don't know. I'm still so torn on F1. I'm so torn on F1. Can we actually do like a little stat check? What did Ford v Ferrari get? Let me just take a look. So it got editing, cinematography, sound at BAFTA. Um, yeah, I mean, it got a SAG nomination for Christian Bale, so that's something for sure. I want to see where did you land? Critics' Choice did it in Best Picture, which they did not do for F1. What did Golden Globes do? Golden Globes only nominated it for Christian Bale. And let's see anything else. PGA. I mean, it didn't get DGA, so that's out. PGA did it. So yeah, it had PGA, CCA. That was its package going in. I think F1 can do it. I think F1 can do it. Um, so I'm gonna stick with that. And like I feel like I in 2019 I would similarly be thinking, could Ford v Ferrari make it? Like I don't think it would be a locked part of the 10 either.
Yeah, I don't think it was a lock part. I'm trying to remember back then because that was one of the first seasons I actually followed like kind of closely. I feel like Ford v Ferrari was kind of like consensus type pick. That was a year where it wasn't a lock 10. So maybe it wasn't like confirmed, like, oh my gosh, it's going to be the nomination, but it was in the top 10 at the end of the day because they only did, I think it was nine that year.
Yeah,
Maybe it was
I
only
think that
eight.
there was some hope that the farewell could take it down.
And the two popes.
And the two popes, that was a big predicted one. Yes.
So yeah, I don't know what to do here because Accident feels like it has enough passion where it can get in off of the percentage of number ones that you need, sort of like a Nickel Boys last year, despite missing out on other key nominations that Nickel Boys was in the conversation for all year long. My issue with Accident is like what you've been saying is the fact that it underperformed at BAFTA. It has yet to win a televised award so far, and it hasn't had the chance to really boost its visibility. But the Palme d'Or stat is just so strong as of recent. And then F1, I feel like what would comfortably make me put it in is if it overperformed with one nomination. We don't have it in for score, we don't have it in for song, we don't have it in for cinematography, and like we have it on the outside looking in for all of its chances to get
Yeah.
some extra love. Weapons is something where yeah, you have Madigan, but maybe you're adding screenplay, maybe you're adding casting, but also Weapons just doesn't feel like a Best Picture movie. And then after that, you're reaching for like Wicked or Avatar or Blue Moon, all stuff that is completely dead. And then I guess there's Sorry Baby off the back of Julia Roberts, but like, I don't know. I really do think it's between F1 and It Was Just an Accident. And maybe in a weird world, both of them get in and like Train Dreams misses, but I'm not in that world right now. So like, I don't know. I'm leaning more towards Accident, but I feel like F1 has enough. It's just like what matters more. And I guess I need to go watch. And I guess I need to go watch Ryan Castleman's new video of how the Best Picture lineup is actually accumulated over votes. Is what matters more: first place votes or enough top 10 mentions.
Mm-hmm. Now, I have to watch Ryan's video. I mean, Ryan makes the best videos. The best videos. The production value, It's through the roof. Like
because
there's no one like Ryan.
because for me that's the biggest question here is I think Accident will get so many more one, two, three type mentions, but it's not going to be many people's like five and down. Well, F1 probably isn't in many top two or threes, but could be in a lot of people's seven and eights.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm gonna stick with it. I'm gonna be confident. I'm gonna say F1 does it. Um, yeah, that PGA nomination was enough for me. So I'll ride with it. All right, it's getting editing, it's getting VFX, it's getting sound. It's likely to win sound and is the runner-up in editing. So that's good enough for me.
Yeah, I guess I should stick to my guns here. Last year, I said if Nosferatu made PGA, I would put it in behind its massive tech package. And this year, F1 does get a PGA behind a massive tech package, a smaller package than Nosferatu had last year, but still a pretty impressive package that does include a most likely win attached to its name. So I will include F1 at least here for this recording. But again, both for Matt and myself, the awards expert links are down in the description down below. If you don't already follow us, please consider dropping a follow. Then you can kind of see what last minute changes we may make in the lead up to the Oscars.
Well, Dylan, I'm a little disappointed that we didn't disagree more in this video. That makes
I
me
don't,
feel a little unsettled.
yeah, and I don't think it's a very good sign either because I feel like every year we have some major disagreements. And like this year, even looking at our current predictions, like with Golden Globes, I had a little bit amount more predicted right than you, but for the wins, you blew me out for winners. And then for the actors, we had the exact same score. Critics' Choice, I don't think you made official predictions. I would assume we would have been somewhere in the same realm, sort of thing. So like we haven't had major disagreements in predictions outside of Golden Globes. But then for winners, I know we've been very different every place. So maybe that's where the disagreements come this season, is where the wins come down the line.
Well, we'll have to see. Regardless, I mean, I feel like we are within 10 of the same score because I think that we only differed on like 7 or 8 nominees total. That's crazy.
And honestly, I don't think that's a good thing.
I don't think that's a good thing
I
either.
think either we're gonna do really well or we have some big negatives on the way. I'm sure we'll have some difference when we get to the shorts, and that will make our scores different per usual. Is the shorts will kill someone,
Yeah.
but I don't have that yet. I need to go watch your video. I need to go watch Ryan's video, and if I have time, I'll check out the next best picture 6 hour long video and Oscar expert and Brother Bros video whenever that officially drops. And who knows, maybe that will influence me one way or the other.
Anyways, thank you for sitting with us through this almost 2 hour long video. As always, we appreciate your support. Leave a comment, leave a like, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And as always, my name's Matt.
My name's Dill, and this has been Fantasy Filmball.